Hello, and welcome to my second vlog. Last time we spoke about Anthill Disrupted. So we spoke about basically how we lived our lives during and after COVID, and the relationships that we had in the office, and what it meant for us when that dropped away. Um, Lots of positive responses from that. So thanks a lot. I heard a lot of people say that they can really relate to that, and that they liked the fact that I spoke from the heart, and that I basically just took people on a journey of how I see these things. Other people were asking as well, "Hey Eric, why are you actually doing this? What are you trying to tell us? Is this research based, or is it just a theory, or?" It's my train of thoughts. It's not something I've heavily investigated. It's not something that I want to turn into a theory to explain life. This is how I see things and the thoughts that I have when I go through certain experiences. And a lot of people seem to have benefit from that. They can relate to that, and it helps them also share the way they see life and share their experiences. So, happy that actually brought quite a bit of discussion. This time I want to talk to you about the roles that we play in life. And the reason why is that I went to a party and I came to a shocking discovery. It was an office party of a friend of mine, and I actually felt really uncomfortable there. And I was like, okay, I need to get out of here. I don't want to be here. And the reason why was actually really because when I thought about it, I had no role to play. This was in an industry that I didn't know. It was in the media industry. It was with people I didn't know. And I just couldn't cope. I stayed for about an hour and then I left. I was asking myself, okay, you know what? If you go to a conference, it's about a topic that you can just walk over to strangers, or even talk to a big crowd of thousands of people, or even go on live TV. That's all fine with you, but how come you can't just walk over to somebody in this party? It's because I lacked a role. I realized that I'm very attached to that. If you look at things, in early childhood, boys and girls, they already get put roles, labels on them. And maybe labels or hats is a better word than roles. But really, as a boy, as a present, you get like toy cars and Marvel action heroes. Whereas as a girl, if you're a bit coming from an old-fashioned family, you might get like a toy kitchen, and you might say, "Well, that's hardly ever happening anymore these days." You'd be surprised. I was in the Toys R Us, and I was gobsmacked to see that there was a boys section and a girls section. And you look in the girls section. I have a son, so I rarely look there, but I was curious, and I saw actually toy ironing boards and toy washing machines. I was really horrified. It's like, wow, you kidding me, right? I mean, nobody does that for fun. I mean, why would you give that to your child other than to just stick a label on them and give them a role to play? It's here, this is going to be your future, right? So, I mean, where does that come from? In the old days, we looked at our parents for role models, right? So our father was, for instance, a guy working with his hands. So you would work with your hands too. You might be making tofu, and you would be a tofu maker too. And your father was a very serious person, so you're a serious person too. And your mother was always the person uniting everything and everybody, and she was a very social person. So you're a very social girl, right? Because you look at your mother. And she was a great housewife, so you try to become a great housewife too. You looked at your parents for that. If you look at them these days, parents actually try to just anticipate a lot more what kids want out of life. They take them to different places like courthouses to see, what a lawyer does, or to a hospital to see what a doctor does. And that's sometimes really helpful, but most of us actually, by the time that we finish secondary school and we have to choose our university, we have no clue what we want out of life. And by the time we want it, it's we're already chosen some kind of generic study like law or business administration, and God knows what you can do with that. And then halfway through your career, you figure out, actually, I would have loved to become like an architect or a veterinarian, But are you really then, when you have a mortgage and a first kid and another kid on the way, are you really going to say, you know what, I'm going to give up my job and I'm going to go and study again? That's tough, and that's very expensive. And a lot of us don't have the opportunity to do that. So, we do need to think at an earlier stage, I think, about roles and the roles that we play. And it's actually really important to be able to just play different roles and to shift perspective for a moment. I mean, I'm in risk management, but I've been in various roles and often client-facing risk management roles. And it really is helpful to be able to say, you know what, yeah, my role is in risk management, so I'm here to protect the bottom line, make sure that we don't have any losses. But if you only protect the bottom line, then you're gonna always find a reason to kill a deal and to end a relationship, right? But you also need to make money. So are you able to actually put a different hat on, play a different role than that of a commercial person? When do we want to take a risk? Not just when do we not want to take a risk? So being able to shift that perspective is actually quite important. Same, if you're a climate activist, are you able to see that, if you just shut down everything that has a carbon footprint, people have no more jobs and no more food, right? So being able to play with that is actually a very important skill. If you distill it in a wider sense, why is it important to, have an understanding of these roles? Well, first of all, we always have situations where we find ourselves out of a role. Imagine, a situation where all of a sudden, you're a successful lawyer and then you lose your job, and the law firm that you're part of goes belly up, and wow, and one day you're a partner and the next day you're just Joe Blow trying to make by with a couple of kids in private school. So being able to just cope with that situation, it becomes worse if you really attach to that role, right? And the roles that you typically play. But also, are you able to just find out for yourself what you really would like to play as a role, if you can put aside for a moment the stuff that has been stamped on you from early childhood, the nurture and the convention that has given you all these roles that you played historically. What would become of that what would become of you as a person if you are able to say, you know what, let's just look at myself as a clean slate. What do I really want? And sometimes, what you might just need is a situation that forces you to actually give up the existing roles and come with something completely out of left field. So are roles a bad thing? No, I think roles are necessary, and we would struggle to survive and go through life if we didn't have roles to play. We need a function. We need to know kind of where we belong. We can't all just be like a tumbleweed in the desert, right? You end up inevitably in Bali or Lombok with a man bun and a sarong and just bumming out. But that's not really a good life to live, I guess, for the long term. So experience life without roles for a change sometimes, and be aware of how attached you are to roles. You might find out that there is something out there that you haven't explored and which you really love. Hope you enjoyed the video. Let me know again in the comment section, and look forward to speaking to you in the next video.